gentlemen, it's the main event. Please welcome to the ring, from Manchester, Anthony Crolla.
This is the moment.
Well, maybe on Merseyside in this historic venue, but a lot of fans have made the trip across to Manchester. Smattering of boos and jeers, but plenty of cheers as well for $1 Million Crolla. 24 years old, and you could argue the biggest fight of his life. He's in great shape. I thought at the weigh-in yesterday he looked terrific, and he looks very, very relaxed, Jim.
Yeah, well, it does. It's a situation there, everything to gain, nothing to lose. He was already training for a real tough eliminator at the division below against Carl Johansson, so he probably feels this is a fight that's equally as tough, but there could be a British title at the end of it. A chance well worth taking.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Highton, Liverpool, John Watson.
Watson was in training for a contest against Gavin Rees, a very, very different sort of opponent in Crolla, but he's been there. He's the taller man. You could argue he's the natural lightweight. He's got physical advantages. And again, just as for Crolla, plenty of cheers and a few jeers. It's a real Liverpool-Manchester atmosphere. You'll see from the tail of the tape that the physical advantages lie with Watson. There he is, the taller man. Reach is the same. Crolla for the first time fighting as a lightweight. Watson 3 years the older man. And in terms of fights, well, Crolla has had them more rounds, but a very, very similar knockout percentage. Whether or not that sharpness of punch for Crolla translates to the higher weight division, well, we'll see. Now, there have been some terrific fighters who've held this title over the years, and these are the odds. John Watson, he's named as 7-4 on favourite, but that's as close as you can come, really, to a pick-em fight. Not much between them, but some excellent fighters have held this title over the years. Bob Mee.
Yeah, it's one of the grand old titles in British boxing. We have, first of all, Freddie Welsh on that list, the brilliant Welshman who made a fortune in America and won a world title too. There's Jack Kidd Berg. The Whitechapel Whirlwind also thrilled American fans, held the British title late in his career. 50 years ago, Dave Charnley. Some still say he was the best British boxer not to win a world title. And down on the bottom row, there's Ken Buchanan, the master boxer, fought that classic with Roberto Durán. Next man needs no introduction, I'm sure, Jim. Our Jim was British, European, then world champion. And finally on that list, Billy Schwer, tough, skillful champ of the 90s. He too wore the Lonsdale belt with pride.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the main event, the fight of the night. Barry Hearn for Matchroom Sport proudly presents 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant British Lightweight Championship. Sponsored here by PartyCasino.com. We are live and exclusive on Sky Sports HD. Welcome to the fabulous city of Liverpool. This is Saturday Fight Night. All the officials appointed by the British Boxing Board of Control. Supervisor Jeff Bolter. Area representative is Richard Jones. Our 3 scoring judges: Phil Edwards of Preston, John Keane of Wellingborough, and Victor Lachlan of Paisley, Scotland. Timekeeper at the bell is Mr. Barry Pinder from Sheffield, and our referee in charge of the action from All Hallows, Kent, Mr. Richie Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, they are the officials. These are the fighters. Introducing to you, firstly, and fighting under the blue corner. He's wearing the maroon trunks and weighed in at 9 stone, 8.5 pounds with a 21-fight record. 19 wins, 7 inside the scheduled distance, and just 2 defeats. From Manchester, where he is known as Anthony $1,000,000 Crolla. And across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks, weighing in at 9 stone, 9 pounds. 14-fight record, 14 wins, 5 inside the scheduled distance, and just 1 defeat. The pride of Highton, Liverpool, John Watson! So, let's get the action underway then. 12 rounds of boxing for the Vacant British Lightweight Championship.
Okay, fellas, you've both had your instructions in the dressing room. You know what I expect of you. Behave yourselves, do as you're told, and above all, defend yourselves at all times. Good luck to you both. That's okay.
Well, it's a feisty old atmosphere. 2 committed sets of supporters, 2 fighters who both believe it's their destiny to take this famous old title, to win that Lonsdale belt. Who's it to be? It could be a cracker.
Yeah, I think this one has all the ingredients of being a cracker. I think Crolla's maybe that little bit cuter. He likes to come up close, throw short, jolting punches, puts punches together nicely. Watson, who was an excellent amateur, likes things at long range, but this is a nice positive start from Crolla, stepping right up to the breach and putting them together straight away.
Joe Gallagher, Anthony Crolla's trainer, has this great winning run, and there's a real buzz about that camp from the gym over in Denton. And Crolla regularly, as you heard earlier in the programme, regularly spars with John Murray, the European champion, who's watching his friend at ringside. And he says that he is not likely to be fazed one little bit by maybe the size advantages that Watson possesses.
I think Watson made a terrible mistake against Rees, worrying about the 12-round distance taking too long to get started. And it looks as though he may be making the same mistake here. He can't go into a 12-rounder thinking about 12 rounds. Every round, treat it as it comes, and the sharper start is with Crolla. Against
Martin Gethin as well. Watson, although he won the fight, he dramatically appeared to run out of gas in the last round and was hanging on really to see his way through to the final bell, and maybe in the back of his mind he just has those seeds of doubt about his own ability to go the championship distance.
Well, he started slowly again. He's allowing Crolla to set the momentum, set the tempo. He's up close. He's not trying to block him with the jab. He's not putting enough snap into his jab. This really is a positive start from Anthony Crolla.
Yep, he's buzzing, isn't he? He looks confident, up on his toes, applying pressure, accuracy with that jab, and this is neat boxing from the Manchester man.
And he's being allowed to box at his own pace. I mean, he's really enjoying the opening round here. I don't doubt for a second things will change several times as this one goes along. Love the right hand. Look at the confidence Crolla's showing in the opening round here. He's boxing like a man with absolutely nothing to lose.
Well, there's something very much old school about Crolla, about the way in which he fights in the gym and the way in which he keeps himself always in terrific shape. But just in the closing seconds of this opening round, Watson, perhaps a little bit belatedly, as Crolla gets the ticking off from referee Richie Davis, does manage to throw a couple of good, solid body shots.
Well, it's early days, but Watson is the one who has to change things, has to change the tempo, has to try to take the initiative. Not a good opening round from him.
No, this is Crolla's round, and he's ending it aggressively, catching the judge's eye.
Rotate, you see with Gavin Rees,
well,
all right?
You're hearing here Joe Gallagher in Anthony Crolla's corner, and he's saying he's intimidated and he's not settling into the fight.
Sometimes boxing at home can tighten a fighter up in the opening round, and I don't know if that's what's happened to Watson, but he was tight. You know, he was reluctant to let punches go, and he certainly come off second place in the opening round.
Well, an excellent opening round from Anthony Crolla. Is he going to be able to sustain it? This, of course, remember, is a 12-round fight for this vacant British lightweight title. Crolla, the shorter man in the red shorts from Manchester. Formerly trained by Anthony Farnell, and there's a lovely snap about his work. He's right on the button at the moment. That's better, though, from Watson, at last starting to spear his man with that left-hand lead. He needs more of that.
Crolla is the one with the more professional approach at the moment. You know, he's stepping in, little feints, moving to the side as he moves forward, you know, showing little angles. Whereas Watson this early is just a little bit predictable, a little bit amateurish, if you like. Better from Watson.
Crolla comes from fighting stock. His dad Wayne was a decent fighter in the 1980s. And Watson has just not settled into this at all so far, and you can almost see as though he's just trying to work his way through this opening blitz.
I don't think Watson is comfortable fighting at a pace.
Lovely left hand from Crolla, and you see the little smile traced across those boyish features. That's better from Watson, but most of those being taken on arms and gloves.
But I think Watson is responding because he has no choice. He doesn't want to fight at this pace. He's trying to drop the pace. Crolla is the much more comfortable of the two. This is a good round. Closer than the first, but I still like Crolla so far with just over a minute to go.
It's better from Watson. He needs more of that. He says that pressure fighters, as Crolla quite clearly is, he says that suits his style. Well, we need more evidence of that with more snappy counter-punching and good work at range. He is a good straight puncher, and Watson needs more of it.
Yeah, better. He's responding better now, Watson. But again, I still feel he's been forced to work like this. He's not taking the initiative. He's still reacting to what Crolla's doing. Good defence. Crolla.
Crolla fans making a real racket. You'd have thought that he was the home fighter. Watson, who made his debut here back in 2007. Crolla really came out of the blocks hard. This has been a better round for Watson. Whether or not he's doing enough to win it.
Yeah, this is a much closer round than the first.
Oh, excellent, excellent from Crolla.
Still that confident look about Crolla's work. Still get the feeling that Watson has been forced into this kind of battle.
And Watson being forced to fight at a far higher pace. There's Gavin Rees sitting at ringside, former WBA light welterweight champion, and who had that stirring battle with John Watson. He's relinquished his title, and it may be that he can sort out the medical problems which have kept him out of the ring. It may be that he'll get a fight against the winner of this. Second round was an interesting one. How did you score it, Jim?
I thought Crolla again. I thought the impressive work again came from him. He was initiating most of the attacks, much closer than the opener.
Let's just have a quick word with Bob Mead. Did you read the first couple of rounds same as Jim, Bob?
Yeah, I did. I couldn't believe the tension in Watson in the first round. He's settled into it now, but he needs more of the same. He needs to get on the front foot.
Well, you heard maybe Joe Gallagher saying to Crolla, he just cannot fight when he's on the back foot. That's better from Watson, though. Needs more of the same.
Watson needs to show the confidence that he can throw punches and do it for 12 rounds. It's as though he just wants to nitpick here and there, just work at his own pace. Crolla not prepared to allow that.
Yeah, that's one thing you can be absolutely certain of with Crolla, that Watson will not be allowed to switch off and go for little walks and take time out in rounds, he'll be made to fight 3 minutes of each round for as long as this fight may go. And you saw the bookies beforehand found it hard to split them. Watson was a slight favourite, but Crolla, the confidence I'm sure will be influencing that now. Richie Davis, he's going to be a key figure in there. This is going to be rough at times, I'm sure. Good work from Crolla.
If Crolla has one problem, he walks straight in at times, just with his hands cupped in front. He can walk onto punches, but he's still the one who's showing the nice rhythm in his boxing. Watson still looks as though he just wants to throw one punch at a time and drop the pace if he can.
You sense that although he's at lightweight for the first time, that Crolla in there believes that physically he's the boss. He's prepared to stand there and to trade and to show that he's got the weight of punch and that he will not take a backward step.
Well, it's the confidence in his work that's really impressed me. This early, he's prepared to step straight up. He's the one, remember, stepping up in weight. But he's on the front foot. There's a solid look about his boxing. He's putting punches together. Doubling up the left hook there. Lovely one.
Well, Watson caught him with one left hand, but then back came Crolla, and as Watson tries to fight off the ropes, some neat, evasive, defensive work from Crolla as well, before he switches on the gas once more, forcing the pace right the way.
And good defensive work too from Crolla, nice and tight, catching a lot of these punches, just stepping out of range that time, but blocking a lot of shots. Looks a real solid little pro in here tonight.
Well, that's a good right hand, and then a nice snapping left hand lead as well from Crolla. Good right hand from Watson in the closing seconds, but Crolla again for me was bossing that.
Step back and let him fall short, all right? Don't forget.
Well, here's the Crolla corner.
Returning the jab.
Watson was being told,
you push him to the corner.
You're the stronger guy. Let's start showing it.
Yeah, well, he's the one able to put punches together. He's the one who's found rhythm in his boxing. Watson is yet to do that.
Well, into the fourth round. And Anthony Crolla is showing that he will not be intimidated, but this is now starting to be a big effort from Watson. Maybe now he's realised that he's finally got to start to try and impose himself physically on his opponent, and he's got to show that, yeah, he's the bigger man, and he's got to fight like the bigger man.
I think Watson has maybe retained a little bit too much of his amateur style. You know, he's not rolling like a pro, not putting punches together like a pro. He's good at what he does, but you get the impression when what he does is not quite enough, maybe it can't produce anything else, no surprises. He's a little bit predictable. 2004
ABA light welterweight champion John Watson had a really good amateur pedigree, boxed for the higher side club as an amateur, but Crolla, well, you can see, as I said a little bit earlier, old-fashioned fighter who's learnt as a pro. You can see visibly that he's improved over the last year particularly.
Yeah, there's a maturity about his work now, which is really impressive. Bit of a drive now from Watson, as you have to expect.
He's got to start to claw his way back, got to work his way into this and start to make it his fight.
Has to take charge, has to take chances, has to put punches together. Stop worrying about the 12-round distance.
Look at this, the two of them are prepared to go toe-to-toe, and when they do so, who's going to have the final word, who's going to have the bigger shots? That's better from Watson, needs more.
He's going to have to take the initiative, he's going to have to mount attacks and sustain them. No good stopping and starting. This is much better from him at the moment.
Amateur game, a whole lot different, of course, from the programme. Watson had that amateur pedigree before the Athens Olympics. He sparred Amir Khan, he was his regular training partner before the games, which brought that much vaunted silver medal for Amir. Now he's got to do it as a pro, and he's got a real little firecracker of a man in front of him, and he's got to find a way to cope with this incessant pressure that Crolla's trying to put on him. And his fourth round, for me, is having a better round, John Watson.
Yeah, but he's going to have to be prepared to miss with punches. You cannot afford to be precise in this kind of fight. That's much better. This is without doubt the best round we've seen from him. He's still having to drive to win this. Still tremendous stuff coming back from Crolla, but big improvement in Watson's work here.
Well, what an excellent fight this is turning out to be. Barry McGuigan beforehand said that it had all the makings of a fight which could turn out down the stretch to develop into a small hall classic. Crolla had the better start. That's a great left hand from Crolla, and he finishes with an eye-catching flurry in the final seconds of a dramatic fourth round. But Watson has clawed his way back to some extent in that round, may have done enough to have won the fourth. That's how we're seeing it. Let's hear now from Ed and Richie Woodall.
Well, an intriguing fight. Richie, how are you reading it?
Crolla's in control, definitely. He chose the right tactics. The Crolla camp have definitely done their homework in that they're pushing the fight, they're pushing their man up to Watson, and what he's also doing, he's keeping his guard nice and high and his elbows in, so he's blocking a lot of the shots. Watson's got to change his tactics. He's got to put Crolla on the back foot.
But Watson is coming back into it.
He's coming back into it a little bit, Ed, but with him boxing on the back foot constantly, he's allowing Crolla to come on, gaining the initiative. He's got to start pushing Crolla back and get back into it. His accuracy has let him down tonight. He's not getting through those shots, but that's mainly because Crolla's got that good guard, elbows and high guard.
Thank you, Richie.
Well, you see there, Jim, that there were some good solid shots though going from Watson in that round, and there's the stats. Better success rate for Crolla, more landed, and he has the edge, but that last round may have gone to Watson.
That scored it to Watson, but I think the problem here is I think Crolla is allowed in this kind of fight to box his normal fight, but Watson is the one who has to change. He likes to stand off, use the jab, use the range. He's not been allowed to do that, so he's the one who's going to have to change, fight in a way that he's not accustomed to, and that might be his downfall. Crolla always looks a little bit more comfortable, even when he's not getting the best in the exchange.
There's a lovely right uppercut from Watson, got a buzz of acclaim from his fans, and I just sense, well, we were hearing from Richie Woodall, I could hear Joe Gallagher as well, I just sensed that he was getting a little bit worried that Crolla was not slipping the shots as he would wish him to, that he's actually absorbing too much and being caught by shots as he goes in from Watson. It's intriguing.
Crolla has to be sure that when he moves into punching range, he throws punches. Sometimes he walks in, low blow, referee's caught it.
Low blow from Watson, accidental or an old pro's trick, I don't know. But he's given time to recover. Let's take another look at him. Could be a little bit eye-watering. Well, it wasn't so far, so oh, that was so.
Yeah, but I mean, I've never seen it in his makeup to throw intentional low blows. It's that kind of fight. He's getting punches off. Just misjudge that one, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, I think every fella watching that would just wince slightly as that one landed. In the fifth round, vacant British lightweight title is at stake. The Merseyside man or the Manchester man, Watson or Crolla. It is a fascinating contest, as we suspected it would be.
I think maybe Watson should think more about volume than power. He's trying to hurt Crolla as he comes forward, and with that tight defence that Crolla's using, it's difficult to find the chin cleanly. So maybe volume put them together as opposed to trying to hurt this fellow. But still on the march, Anthony Crolla.
Phil Edwards, Victor Loughran and John Keane, the judges keeping a close eye on this. You'll have your own ideas as you watch at home. The pressure of Crolla, and increasingly now more punches being thrown by Watson than earlier on when the sheer volume of punches came from the Manchester man and the smaller man, Anthony Crolla. But this is better from Watson, and he's being urged on by his manager Frank Maloney at ringside, trying to get him to sustain this attack, and maybe the best period that Watson's had in the fight so far.
I think another problem for Crolla might be this is the style he has. I don't think he's adaptable. I don't think if this stops working, I don't think he has anything else. And now Watson standing his ground and exchanging punches with him not being driven back.
Once upon a time, they used to have circuses here in this old arena. It is a real bear pit of an atmosphere. Committed fans, committed fighters, and it is turning out to be a cracker.
Crolla just taking a little bit long to get in the range. Here he comes now. Tremendous battle. I did not expect, I thought it would have been more of a technical battle for a few rounds. Quite the opposite.
Well, it has been absolutely relentless from both men. Another terrific round.
Now needs a bit more head movement, dropping at the right hand.
John Watson with Dave Coldwell in his corner, being told that Crolla is starting to tire and that maybe the tide has turned. Well, certainly the volume just still edging to Crolla of those landed, but Watson has actually thrown more now with less of a success rate.
Yeah, but well, it's Watson is the one who has changed. It was the one who had to change, so we'll see if he can sustain this. This is where he really started looking the part against Reese.
Into the 6th round, there can't be a great deal between them. The natural lightweight John Watson against the man who's fighting at lightweight for the first time, Anthony Crolla. You give him the last couple of rounds to Watson, Jim?
Yeah, I just think the way he put punches together, but I still feel he was forced to fight like that, and here we have him at the beginning of this round, looking for space, looking for the pace to drop, just wanting to fight in little bursts. Crolla still the one who wants to engage.
It is a close fight. Wouldn't like to have your money one way or the other. You agree with the scoring that Jim's had so far, Bob?
Yes, I do. What's surprised me is Watson goes to work again, and he's not got that jab going stiff. He's not drilling it in. He's just having a fight with Crolla. He's got to sustain that if he's going to do it.
And he's being forced to fight at a fast pace. If there's question marks about Watson's stamina, well, we will see. Is he going to be able to sustain this? He's being forced to fight at this sort of intensity, and at this stage in the 6th round, he's doing what's needed. He's managed to fight his way right back into this contest.
Yeah, but Crolla's been sent out to have a good round in this round, and he's doing that. Again, you know, fluent boxing, putting punches together, and he again looks the more comfortable of the two.
He's up on his toes and he's just finding another gear. They always say about champions, you need to have gears that you can go through. You need to be able to move up to that real champion's level. That's a lovely uppercut. Really good right hand from Crolla.
It wasn't a hurtful punch, but it can be a sickening punch when you're caught with uppercuts like that. Didn't see it coming.
And Watson looking a little bit disorganised. He's onto the back foot and Crolla senses it in this 6th round. He's been sent out for a big round and that's what he's producing. Watson holding on. Referee Richie Davis won't have it and he's in anxious territory.
Body language so important at this stage in this kind of fight. And look at Watson, he wants to hear the bell. And there's still almost a full minute away. Tremendous drive here from Crolla, tremendous performance from him.
This is a big effort here in the 6th round from the Manchester man. He is incessant, right in the face of Watson, picking his punches, forcing him back. He will not be intimidated, and he's shown that physically he is certainly the match of the man from Wallasey. The Wallasey Express is looking as though he's got to step it up again, and bravely he digs deep, he goes to the well again, and in the last few seconds of this round he again now forces Crolla back. What bravery! They so desperately, both of them, want this title, and this is wonderful stuff. No quarter asked nor given. Watson and Crolla. Crolla wins the round, but Watson, as he goes back to the corner, for words of advice from Dave Coldwell. Well, what a brave last 15-20 seconds.
He threw everything at you. You came back and you finished around the stronger man. That is so important. He's gone back to the corner knowing he hit you everything. You come back, right? Breathe. Listen to me. Keep it nice and tight, right? Nice.
Just wonder whether Crolla gambled so much there, Jim.
That was the sickener, when you're caught with uppercuts, when things not going quite the way you want them to go, and you're caught with that kind of punch, it kind of puts you in your place, if you know what I mean. But I still feel Crolla is the one more comfortable at this pace and in this style of fight. And I'm thinking all the rounds he sparred with John Murray must really be paying off here. He looks as though he can do this all night long. Watson looks as though he's driving himself to stay in there.
But how much has that onslaught from Crolla taken out of him? Remember that before the fight started, John Watson was the bookies' favourite, but Crolla has really fought superbly so far, and now they literally have it as a pick-em fight, both of them 11-10 on.
I wonder maybe if Crolla will start changing and just fighting little bursts as opposed to 3 minutes of every round being in Watson's face. Watson's still the one who wants to find a little bit of space, a little bit of time to regroup, but Crolla still prepared to force.
A sense for Crolla, this is quite an important round, having gambled so much in the 6th. He threw an awful lot of leather at Watson, but he heard from the Watson corner, they were saying, yep, that you may have taken a lot, but in the last 20 seconds, you showed that you're still there, and you finished the round as the stronger man. This is an important round for Crolla, got to sustain it.
I tell you what, Watson is the one who's having his head knocked back with the punches. Crolla is absorbing everything with his neck muscles and marching forward. Look at the clean punch, the jab knocking the head back. His defences have loosened. Again, I like the work so far in this round, long way to go, of Crolla. Nice and tight, nice and compact and constant.
There's a little bit of a sense of desperation about the Merseyside chants from the Liverpool crowd. There's a belief about Crolla and a belief about his fans, but Watson, as I say that, lands a couple of good-looking shots, but Crolla will not be denied. He will not be put onto the back foot.
And still boxing his own style of fight. Every time I've seen Anthony Crolla, this is the way he's boxed. This is the best I've seen him, I must say, but this is his style. Watson not comfortable with it.
Well, his last defeat was back in 2009, Anthony Crolla against Gary Sykes. You know what Gary Sykes makes of this one, because Crolla has stepped his work up a level, and those are lovely shots again. You got a great camera shot of that at close range as Crolla rocked back Watson's head.
Yep, and again I'll say it, the one having his head knocked back with the punches always seems to be John Watson. Better quality work for me again in this round from Anthony Crolla. Still comfortable, still looking solid.
Pressure from Crolla, as it has been from the first bell. And Watson now needs a big last 20 seconds to catch the eye. It's been another round, I would have thought this has to be for Anthony Crolla. Watson's trying, but he's not able to fight his fight. He's not been able to do so. He's been dragged into a little war by Anthony Crolla. And the Manchester man goes back to his corner again. And Joe Gallagher looks across to see what sort of damage has been done to John Watson. And Crolla, this corner, believe that he is in front and well in front.
What you got to do when you go to the ropes, all right? His feet are dead, his feet are dead. You've got to keep moving your feet. Just little feints, little feints, little feints, and make him move and make him move. And when he does go to move, he's disorganised and he's coming apart. So trigger him with your feet, make him move.
Well, this was how he was doing precisely that.
See, it's the upper body movement, the little angles he's finding, as opposed to the more predictable boxing of John Watson. Defences have been scattered several times of Watson, yet Crolla always nice and tight, nice and compact.
A straight right hand as well, you're over.
And for the first time, Crolla the 11-8 on favourite, Bob.
That's right, and you can understand why he's not comfortable. There's Jim's card, 68-65 for Crolla.
Turning out to be a good night for Anthony Crolla if the judges are seeing it the same way we are. He's up on his toes, full of bounce, full of enthusiasm. Never been beyond 10 rounds. And Watson, in the couple of occasions that he's had to go into later rounds, well, against Gavin Rees, he got stopped. Against Martin Gethin, he struggled.
I just can't believe the maturity we're seeing in Crolla's work. The solid look, he's actually very similar. I wonder if he's modelled himself on John Murray. It's the same idea. I know Joe Gallagher, banks a lot on aggression with tight defences, and that's what we've seen. A beautiful work again from Crolla.
Whatever Joe Gallagher does with these lads over in that gym in Denton, he must be doing something pretty well, because this Crolla performance, for me, there are real similarities in the work that you see in John Murray. He's showing himself to be a real hard man, a real strong man in there. Yes, he's taken shots, but he's returning it with interest. This might be the last big throw of the dice coming in from Watson. He knows that he's in dangerous territory now, and he's got to start putting rounds together, but he's not hurting Crolla.
Hurtful punches from Crolla there. Crolla sensibly. He hasn't quite dropped the pace, but he's just picking his moments now. He's not in Watson's face every second. He's just outside of range, just picking his times to move in with the punches and back out again. This is really sensible boxing. You have to conserve some energy. This is really tremendous stuff from him.
Well, if you look at it as a mountain to climb to win this title, John Watson is finding that the slopes are very steep indeed, if not precipitous. He's got to find a way now, and this is a big effort from Watson. Needs more of that. The crowd respond. They know that he's got to be behind, and he's got to dig deep. He's got to find something to put Crolla into reverse gear, and he's trying everything that he knows. He's trying to show every ounce of that fighting heart.
Well, he's lost the first 2 minutes of the rounds, so he needs a massive last minute.
Well, Crolla had to take some, but as so often in the fight, here he comes again.
I just feel again Crolla is the far more comfortable looking of the two. Watson's defences are loose. He's all over the place. There's no real structure to his boxing. Crolla is quite the opposite. He's tight, he's compact. Really looking strong and confident.
Was it a gamble stepping up a level to lightweights for Anthony Crolla? Well, as you look at these two in there now, it looks like a fairly shrewd gamble, more of an investment, and possibly an investment in the British title and the Lonsdale belt, which will be wrapped around the waist of the winner. It's fascinating, looks as though it's going Crolla's way. Richie Woodall now's with Ed.
He's going up on his toes like that. Open his toes.
Well, I've got Crolla by 3 now. Just give that round even. I thought that was a very close round. The problem Watson's got is he's back onto the ropes too much and in the corners. He's got to stay in centre ring. When he's boxing from centre, he's much more in control. But Crolla on the front foot, pushing his man back. It's great tactics by Crolla. He's good on the inside and his accuracy's been there as well.
So how do you see it developing from here?
I think one of them's going to tire. They can't keep sustaining this pace.
It's been an unbelievable pace.
Yeah, it's been a great. The 6th round, especially, Watson was struggling a little bit, but he's got his second wind, so he's coming back into it a little bit more now. But I think Watson's going to just fade. I think Crolla's just going to keep going, and I think he's going to get stronger.
What a great fight!
Excellent fight indeed, and as you were speaking there, you saw some classic exchanges from that round. And as we move now into the 9th, well, on our card, if that's anything to go by, Crolla is firmly in control. Watson needs a big last 4 rounds, and it may be, well, there's how Jim's got it, it may be that he needs all 4 or to stop Crolla.
I thought Crolla looked tremendous in the 8th round there. Watson had a bust in the middle of the round, but Crolla boxing his own fight, looking comfortable, looking strong. Whereas everything we're seeing from Watson, we're seeing the guts we expect, but his work is forced.
Well, we saw beforehand some of the great names who've held this British title, including the fella on my left-hand side, and these two will be immensely proud to add their names to the roster. Who's it to be? That's a good right hand. He catches Watson off balance. How badly hurt was he? Watson's trying to come back, but Crolla now pounding on the pressure.
Psychologically, when that happens, he wasn't hurt, it was balance, but psychologically that's massive for Crolla and a big dent to John Watson's confidence.
He staggered backwards. It was more of a loss of balance, but Crolla is right in his face, and he has the belief now, and he's starting to fight very much like a man whose destiny is to take this title.
Watson now been caught with his head in the air too often, which is a real sign of tiredness. The hands come down and the chin comes up when you're tired, and he's walking onto shots.
Watson getting encouragement from his corner as he bravely tries to rally. That's another quality shot from Crolla. 2 or 3 slightly flapping-looking hooks from Watson, and then that ramrod straight left from Crolla.
And they're stopping him in his tracks. These are the things that Watson couldn't do in reverse in the early rounds with his jab. Now he's the one being stopped in his tracks for the straight, sharp punches of Crolla.
It's about fitness now as well. Oh, good shot from Crolla, good left hand, and Watson wants to hold on and buy a second or 2, and he looks a little bit unsteady.
And again, Crolla is the one who wants to engage again. He's the one stepping up
Right hand was a big one as well. And Watson, is he starting to fall apart here in this 9th round? Bravely, he comes back with a good shot of his own. But Crolla will not be denied, and Watson is having to fight on instinct now, and that is the shot that Crolla's been looking for. That's been coming, and Richie Davis has ended the fight right there. It's all over, and the British champion is Anthony Crolla.
Tremendous performance from start to finish. He was the man. He came in with the plan. Congratulations always to Joe Gallagher there, who studies this business. Well, that was a perfectly planned, perfectly executed from start to finish. OK, Watson had a couple of good rounds. He's on the floor at the moment, but I think that's as much tiredness and exhaustion as anything else. I think they'll have the oxygen around, but we can hope that's only a precaution. And full credit to Crolla. He didn't celebrate straight away when he saw the way Watson had gone down onto the floor. So hopefully the paramedics are there. Hopefully this is just a little bit of exhaustion. Tremendous punch that finished it, but I think it was as much what he'd taken up to that point. But what a tremendous battle, and my old title, I can say, it's in worthy hands. Whoever won it tonight, I would say that, but definitely with Anthony Crolla after a performance like that.
Well, anxious moments, of course, as John Watson gets treatment in the ring, and Crolla looking on a little bit anxiously, just making sure that his beaten opponent is making a recovery. Medical team giving him every attention, John Watson. It was the left hand which started Watson's real troubles in that final round there. You saw John Murray up in the ring congratulating Anthony Crolla. He's getting oxygen, he's conscious, and shortly, hopefully, he'll be helped onto that stool. Well, these are anxious moments in any fight, of course, and it's not what we want to see, but John Watson, I think, is recovering okay, and he's going to shortly be moved onto the stool in that neutral corner. Frank Maloney up there with him. He knows that his fighter gave a brave account of himself, and there's the cheer from both sets of fans as John Watson gets back to his feet, and lovely to see Anthony Crolla as well giving the sporting round of applause, because it takes two fighters to make a cracking contest such as that, and that was absolutely a top draw performance. Watson was brave, but Crolla on the night was the better man. Let's take a look again at that round when it started to unravel for John Watson.
Well, all the way through, Crolla was the one comfortable with what was happening, because this is his style of fight, aggressive, in your face, with short jolting punches which were much more effective than the longer punches of Watson. So often in the recent rounds Watson was being knocked back with the head punches. You never saw Crolla's head being knocked back like that. That was the finishing shot, and with exhaustion, everything going wrong, and I think his confidence had been shattered by this time by what had taken place beforehand. So the finishing punch, beautiful punch as it was, but I think the job, a lot of the work had already been done. Tremendous battle, tremendous performance, and congratulations to both men for putting up such a show.
It was an excellent show, and let's get a few words from Bob Mee. Anthony Crolla, the first time as a lightweight. I wonder if that's first of all the end of a super featherweight career, and also he's a name now who's reinvented himself and adding on to a very distinguished list.
That's right, he is, and obviously he was confident. He said he thought of for all of 10 seconds before he made the decision to take the chance to step up and do it. The thing that impressed me more than anything else was in that final round how patient he was. He didn't rush. He knew he'd got his man going. He just took his time and waited to find the right punch. He's a good fighter.
Very good fighter indeed, and he is the new champion. Richie Davis there, the referee, who had a good evening as well, keeping the action going. John Watson still sitting on the stool in his corner, but the new champion is Anthony Crolla.
Ladies and gentlemen, timekeeper Barry Pinder has recorded a time of 2 minutes and 35 seconds of the 9th round. On a technical count-out, your winner and the new British lightweight champion, Anthony $1 Million Crolla. And how about we show our appreciation for a very game challenger indeed, the one, the only, John Watson. And now, to present the championship belt, our supervisor, Mr. Jeff Bolter.
Good to see John Watson recovered from that knockout. The celebrations, though, Anthony Crolla, the British lightweight champion, the belt over his shoulder, proud moments for him. What a fight, what a performance. We'll be hearing from him and Barry McGuigan in just a couple of moments' time. Well, it was a brilliant fight, non-stop action. John Watson knocked out in the 9th. Anthony Crolla, the new British lightweight champion. He's speaking to Ed Robinson.
Well, Anthony, obviously we hope John's okay, but you won the British title at late notice, stepping up in weight. How does it feel?
I can't describe what I'm feeling right now. I'm so happy. You know, I've said it before the fight. The Lonsdale belt, I've wanted ever since I got into boxing, since being a schoolboy, and to have it all in my show now, I'm so happy.
Talk us through your tactics and how they worked.
You know, Joe came up with a great game plan, and we knew people was like, stepping up against a big, strong lightweight. We knew that wasn't going to be a problem, and we saw things in John Watson, who's a great fighter. As you saw there, such a brave fighter as well. We saw things that we capitalised on, and the man here to right, mate. He's honest. If you could listen to the sound just before I landed the knockout shot, he said southpaw right hook, and we said in the gym all this week, that's going to be the shot to do John Watson, and you know it was. So it just makes it that much sweeter.
Joe, what's that? 42 wins, unbeaten as a trainer. What's your secret?
No, I'm just privileged to work with such a talented bunch of kids. I was saying to Anthony before, we were in opposite corners when he was 11 years old as a schoolboy, so I'm really proud to have won the English title with him now and the British title, and it's just, I've got a hard work and dedication and desire. That's all it is, hard work, dedication and desire, and I'm really pleased for Anthony. I think he's as well as being the best dressed boxer in British boxing, I think he's the nicest boxer as well in British boxing, and he deserves every success. He's an old type fighter in a modern era, always in the gym, always fit, 2 weeks notice, stepped up and got the business, and that's a lesson for all youngsters, prospects that are turning over now. You've always got to be in the gym and be in shape.
Well done, the whole team.